I lost almost 8 kgs by simply using the magic plate, my food clock, and managing my hormonal behaviors. And this one is not only for women but all genders. These days, it's so much easier to gain weight in the time of quick delivery and fast cooking. The food is more an experience than fuel. And despite the knowledge of health coaching over the years, I realized I had put on more weight in the last 6 months than I had ever in my life. Firstly, this got me disappointed, but I was also naturally becoming moodier and more irritated throughout the day. And this was my wake-up call. So I decided to put my own coaching knowledge into practice, and I did my personal historical intake analysis. As I crunched the numbers and delved deeper into the macros and the micros of my meals, I realized it wasn't just my food or exercise, but also my stress, blood sugar impact, and listen carefully here, a reduction in my muscle mass that led to my weight gain. So I used 3 techniques widely practiced by coaches with clients to make weight loss easy and healthy. And today, after having lost 7.5 kgs to be exact, I want to share the complete process with you step by step. First, the magic plate. Magic plate is not a technique of portion control, mind you, but a structure of the plate design based on its components. A magic plate is necessarily a template of a plate that divides our meal into proteins, carbs, and fats. If you need more information on which carbs or which fats to use, you can reference the video linked right here where I discuss this in detail. Now, there are different types of magic plate by your need and metabolism rate. You can choose the one that suits you the best. And don't worry about these slides. I have the guide linked below too if you want to download your personal version. In my case, this magic plate worked wonders because I naturally have a medium to high metabolism rate. Now let's talk about the plate size. I personally shifted to a small plate about 9 inches in diameter, and scientifically too, it's proven that reducing the size of plates leads to a decrease in the amount of food consumed. Naturally, people serve themselves less food when using smaller plates compared to larger ones, and that just goes to show that the plate size can influence portion control too. Second is my food clock. A food clock can be on a hunger scale or a fullness level. On a hunger scale of 1 being noticing hunger to 10 being starving, I started to plan for my next meal when I was at 2. And that meant I did not binge eat when I felt extremely hungry because I had a healthy magic plate waiting for me. Next, fullness level. A fullness meter tracks 10 as being stuffed and 1 as starving. So in this case, I aimed for an 8 on the fullness meter, meaning when I'd reach an 8 while eating, I would put down my spoon and put the rest of the meal in the fridge or back in the pantry, because this is when I felt most nourished and energized. Which also means you need to stop eating when you are 80% full. Not 100, not 110, which mostly happens when emotional eating, but 80% full. I also decided no matter what, I was not going to skip meals. I promise you, it does not help. When you skip meals, your body goes into starvation mode and starts conserving energy. This can lead to a decrease in how our body processes food into energy, which is metabolism, making it harder to lose weight. And we don't want that. Also, I was big on drinking water with meals, which is a problem, and it took the longest to change because I personally like a cold glass of water with my meal. The reason I say don't drink water before or during meals is that when we drink a lot of water with our meals, it can indeed fill up our stomachs, which might give us a sensation of fullness temporarily. But water is quickly absorbed in the stomach and moves quickly through the digestive system, leaving the stomach empty again for more food. So while we did not feel hungry at the mealtime, we want to eat another meal right after our lunch or dinner, for which most of us consider snacks, and that is the problem. Next, I also ensured I slept at least 8 hours. You see, when we reduce sleep, our weight increases. If I did not get enough sleep, I would binge eat, I craved more snacks, and I would eat bigger portions. And this is the reason why we should sleep at least 8 hours, but I understand it is easier said than done. Because when you're stressed, when you consider social media scrolling over meditation, it isn't going to work. So I needed to relax, to make my mind relax, and in turn, my gut too. My third and most important technique was managing my hormonal behavior. Hormones are tricky because we never consider them in the weight loss discussions, especially if we ignore tracking our own emotional eating behaviors, because it's not always easy. And hormonal weight can be tough to pinpoint since we don't have a yardstick like a clock or a plate size to really metricize the impact on a day-to-day basis. But it's when I started to analyze my food intake, my exercise patterns, and my habits, I realized my hormones were at play too. Interestingly, though I have a good water drinking habit, my constant sugar consumption made my skin dry and itchy too. And the science behind that is that our bodies are well developed to pull water from all over our body to get rid of that extra blood sugar than our normal consumption. So if you see cracked or dry itchy skin around your limbs, this could be one of the reasons too. In the last few months, I have made a few changes in my work environment as well as at home, which was initially scary, and I started to see that in my habitual eating patterns too. When we go through some life changes, our stress hormones get elevated, a lot of which sits around the stomach area as stubborn fat. Stress from these life changes causes hormonal changes that can increase blood sugar levels and blood insulin levels, which makes me crave food high in calories, fat, and sugar. And this very insulin affects the body weight the most. It stores the blood sugar but also regulates its storage. Unfortunately, constant overeating makes us insulin resistant, causing that long-term weight gain. When I controlled the carbs and sugar in my diet, I started to recognize a change in my energy levels, my mood, my want to exercise, and appetite too. This is also when I added a more fibrous diet to help decrease my elevated estrogen levels. Hopefully that roundup was helpful for you. But if you were unable to get to that food replacement strategy video, you can find it right here too. I will see you in my next video, but until then, take care. Bye.